I have a good friend of mine who I call him the millionaire exterminator, the exterminator king of the Hamptons. So he's got 29 trucks. He loves what he does. He has a house 4 times the size of mine, and he's an exterminator. And what is it? He loves what he does. He loves what he does. And who's here to knock it when he's pulling down big dollars? But he's a good friend of mine, and but he's the millionaire exterminator. So if you love what you do, you can make money doing anything.
Yeah. I don't know if it's my stubborn personality or what. When people would say, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that," that's what I wanted to do. Okay. So there's something that I learned, and it's make up your own opinion about things. Don't just make decisions based on rumors. When I think back at my education, I remember when I decided to move from biology to chemistry. Usually it's the opposite. People go from chemistry to biology. But no, I wanted to go from biology to chemistry, and everybody was saying, "No, you don't want to do that. It's going to be more difficult. It's tough." I want to do that. So I went into chemistry. Then, I want to work in research while I'm in undergrad. I'm considering the professors. Don't work with that professor. He's a slave driver. Let me check this guy out. Let's see really what they're talking about. And I just realized he's somebody who expects you to work hard and who wants you to become independent and have your own project. And yeah, you have a lot of responsibility compared to other people that just would come in and do the dishes and that's it. Well, this is the guy I want to go with. And I loved it. It was great. And the kind of opportunities and doors that were open for me because of that were amazing. So don't just listen to rumors. Make up your own opinion, okay? So that's big. What else? Don't be afraid of hard work. If you're treated like a wimp, you're going to become a wimp, okay? So we expect a lot from you, and you can do it. So don't listen to the crowd that you may hear somewhere else. You can do it.
I'll throw my voice in here as well and echo the comments about finding what you really are interested in will make a lot of this hard work, seem that much easier. I had the very interesting experience when I was very young to realize that electrical engineering was where I wanted to go. I ran a little experiment when I was in 2nd grade. I had a little toy motor. It was good for 5 volts, and I knew there was 120 volts in the wall socket. And at that point, once that little experiment failed, I realized I needed to learn about this. And that was how I wound up in electrical engineering. But too, I'll mention that I grew up in a very small town out in Oregon, just about as small as the one you heard about earlier in Oklahoma. And for me, paying for college is something that I had no idea how to do it. And so I was fortunate enough to get Uncle Sam to do it for me. I worked very hard in every subject, laid down those foundations as best I could, and was fortunate enough to have my college, paid for through the military. So I just mention that as a personal, experience that I had to get me through that engineering education that I was really very much enjoyed, and to this day, it's led me here. So that's my advice is to really, it may not be something that you find, when you're very young, but just be open and curious, and you will find something that really catches your interest, and then run with it as hard as you can.
If you don't love it, if you don't get up thinking about it, you don't go to sleep thinking about it, you're going to get bored with it. Now, not that that's not going to change, all right? You're sitting in there today, and the question originally was, what are you going to be doing 5 years from now? I have no idea. All right, I'll throw it out there. I got no idea what I'm going to be doing 5 years from now, but I know that life is too short for me not to love what I do. So, like has been said, guys, get that passion and be willing to learn forever. Don't think just because when I completed my PhD, I looked at my wife and I said, I'm officially PhD done. And again, I realized the second that I said that I have always got to be refining what I learn, who I learn it from, and be willing to grow and change and adapt. And be passionate about it and love life. I'm sorry we have to bail. I've got to hang up and go to Pennsylvania. They tried to call me twice. But thank you for letting me join you today.
Lance, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. We've got about, we're a little under 10 minutes. We want to turn it loose to you guys to have some, questions. We're going to try to get some questions from any of the rooms. And just as a little kind of incentive, Miss O'Brien has a whole pile of gifts that were donated from Cisco. She's got some pretty good things. So we're going to turn it over to you guys for a few minutes and ask some questions.
But say your name first, so I know your name. If I don't get it
Monique, stand
correctly,
up, kid.
then you're not getting anything, okay?
My name is Monique Wade.
You got to say it real loud.
My name is Monique Wade, and I'm a sophomore, and I have a question about the business management side of all the jobs, I guess you could say, careers. Like, as far as human resources and management, where do you think that's heading for the future for our generation?
Anybody want to touch on that?
I mean, I'll take a shot at it. HR, HR and business management, listen, HR in general is becoming so hard to run an efficient HR shop for a couple of reasons. We talked about lifelong learning. That typically falls under the HR umbrella. So, for example, at my company, we have a director of corporate learning. Regulations from a hiring standpoint are so different. Our businesses are becoming so much more global, so you have multicultural challenges within the workplace. What is okay behavior in some areas of the world isn't going to fly in New York or the US, and vice versa. So it's a very dynamic field. It is encompassing more and more lines that had never been even thought of before. So, and we talked about mobility, acceptable use. When I own this tablet and it's also part of the company and I want to trade my stocks on it, as long as I'm not doing it in company time, it should be all right. Well, that means I have something on here that's not company related. So all these things are coming into play, but the corporate learning aspect of it is by far exploding from our perspective. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
Great
that's...
question. I'm going to try. I'm hoping this is going to work. Can we get a question from C9 or D26? You guys alive in there? Come on, you heard everything out of this room. Let's go. Step up.
Here, D26, question, microphone right over here.
Okay, you want a question over here? Why don't you come up, stand up, stand up. We have a question in C9.
We can hear you. Let her rip.
One of you. One of you stand up. Okay, that's the question.
I'm just looking at the teleconferencing technology we're using. I'm just wondering, based on your careers, what improvements would you look to see? How do you think you might implement them? And how do you think they might influence your job or your work style?
Ben, you want to jump in for that? Could you hear that question?
Sure. So as far as, leveraging video and, Cisco recently bought Canva, which is a huge investment for us. We know that the video technology is only getting better. And, as far as what it might be in the future, I think in the future we won't sit in front of a big TV with a screen. We'll be doing holograms and other things where, it's almost like you're going to be sitting there in real life. And it won't be this, I have to find an endpoint to be somewhere at a certain time and just pretty much kind of make it happen. So I think that's going to be a big evolution with the video world and how we interact with people on the other end.
I'll add something there too about what I do. So I use mostly electron microscopes, which, like I said, cost between $1 and $4 million. So not every school can afford to have one, but they are at this point all computer controlled. So there are multiple sites now in the United States, and I think this is going to grow as well, where there's remote access. So you could sit at a computer in just about anywhere and run the microscope in my lab. so that I could teach a class on how to look at atoms, for example, or how to look at viruses, but you don't have to travel to my university to actually do the laboratory section. I think that will become more and more common in education. You'll see remote laboratory access.
I think we had a question. Go ahead.
What's your name, honey?
Nick Smith. How do you guys think that your jobs in the future will affect other careers, like things like our military, law enforcement, or even down to somebody making a shirt with nanotechnology? How do you guys think that will affect that?
Yeah, I'll speak for Nano. I think it's touching everything, basically. The military is no doubt one of the biggest drivers for high tech, both in the electronic side of things, so radiation hard materials that have, for satellites, they have to be able to withstand the radiation that they'll experience in space, but down to the nitty gritty of being able to put sensors into the uniforms that our military wear, so that we could sense in the field if a troop has been injured or getting dehydrated and warn the soldier, you need to drink something, you need to improve your electrolytes just by sensing the sweat on the skin and the balance in that. So I think it's going to be huge for first the military, and then probably that will eventually filter down to local type law enforcement where our ability to detect, we all know about DNA now since we watch CSI and all those shows, but I think crime solving is good, forensics basically, will be another huge area for nanotech. And then all the way down to, the body armor that the police wear, or the fire retardant materials that firefighters have to wear. I think that's going to be huge.
I want to when the bell rings, we can stay here for a couple minutes. I'll give you a free pass for late. But I know we want to take a few more. We want to take a few more
We got a
questions.
question at D26.
Let's get a question on D26, and we'll hold off for a second, okay? Go ahead.
My name is Mark. I'm Mark Wells. What other colleges besides the one located in Albany can someone study nanotechnology?
Oh, okay, so there's the number of places that you can go for a bachelor's degree in nanotechnology is actually still fairly small. There are a number of community colleges where you can get a 2-year degree, either in nanoengineering or nanotechnology or some related field. But there's some places now essentially on both coasts. So either someplace in the Northeast corridor or in California that are really starting to pick up actual degrees in nanotechnology. But at the undergraduate level, there's still a lot of that being incorporated into more traditional disciplines. So, a traditional physics curriculum or a traditional chemistry curriculum, they now are having specializations in nanotechnology. So there's you have options even if the degree doesn't say nanotech just yet, because it's, like I said, there's, sort of tentacles of nanotech into all of these different areas. So it isn't just in engineering, but also in the more traditional science disciplines.
Okay. First of all, what I'd like to do is this. They're not going to run right out. These guys they're virtual. If you guys want to hang out for a little bit, we have a couple grad students who are in D26 and are C9 that are willing to answer any questions anybody has on nanotechnology. I know these guys are going to stay to ask some questions for a few minutes. I just want to, first of all, thank our panelists, and I'd like to, really give a round of applause.